Bienvenidos. Welcome to Spartan Quest, Social Justice and Campus Connections. So before we start, some program notes. Okay, so introductory remarks will be recorded. Please turn off your video during this time if you don't want to be visible. The Q&A session will not be recorded. Live captioning is available for this Zoom meeting. Please use the chat to engage in conversation with other attendees and ask questions. Attendees are muted upon entry during the Q&A session. You may unmute yourself to ask any questions you may have for us or use the chat feature. First, a recognition of the land. Okay. We acknowledge that the land on which San Jose State University is located on was once the traditional home of the Puichin Ohlone speaking people and the present day Muwekma Ohlone tribe. The Puichin Ohlone were missionized into Missions Dolores and Santa Clara. The present day Muwekma Ohlone tribe is comprised of all known surviving Native American lineages aboriginal to the San Francisco Bay region, who trace their ancestry through the missions San Jose, Santa Clara, and Dolores, and the historic federally recognized Varana Band of Alameda County. In the Muwekma Ohlone language, Chocheño, Muwekma means the people. Without them, we would not have access to this gathering. We take this opportunity to thank the original caretakers of this land. My name is Kathryn Blackmer Reyes, and I am a librarian and the director of the Africana, Asian American, Chicano, and Native American Studies Center at the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Library here at SJSU. My colleagues and I have been working on this project for the last several weeks, and we are incredibly happy that you are joining us for this Weeks of Welcome event. I welcome my SJSU colleagues, our interim dean, AAACNA board members, and all of the SJSU Spartan students. I remind you that the chat box remains open, and if you have any questions, please feel free to post. I want to thank Anina, John, Sylvia, Mariah, and Michael for their efforts in this program and the desire to provide you with a unique welcome. We hope you enjoy this virtual reality experience of the campus. San Jose State students have a long history of activism working for and seeking equity and justice. SJSU race ethnic students placed us on the world stage in the 1968 Olympics. At home and on our campus during this time period, the 60s, faculty and students of color challenged administration to increase representation of minority students, change in curriculum and programming, and to hire faculty of color. The focus on minority student enrollment gave grounds to legislative approval of the first Equal Opportunity Program, EOP, in the state of California. SJSU staff, students, and some faculty advocated for greater inclusion, access, and support. As students enrolled today, you are part of the lineages seeking to continue access to higher education for all. During this historical moment, we are in a time of resurging challenges focusing on systemic racism and in need of having challenging conversations in our home, with our families, at work, with friends, and in our college classrooms, even if virtually. This conversation occurs in the media and in the political arena as well. And to some extent, the current events are what inspired the idea of this welcome. We wanted to talk about how our university is unique in terms of working for equity. Our goal was not to give you the campus tour, but to provide insight into how the campus has contributed to the roots of social justice. Our hope is that you will continue the lineage. Students are an important source of mobilization on this campus. Students have taken the lead in some of the structures you will see today. We hope that you too will find your role as leaders, inspired by the predecessors, to continue to make this campus an influential experience where you learn the scholarship, the strategies, and the process to take us to equity and justice. The images, the voices, and narratives we are providing are an entry point to a larger project, but more importantly, they are part of the larger conversation of our times. Today, we present 3 campus structures for the VR experience and 3 structures in the city of San Jose. Our intent is to show you the structures using cutting-edge technology, but more importantly, we want you to also listen and read the brief narratives which provide you insight to the meaning for the people who share the experience of being SJSU students, staff, and faculty. The narratives were developed by the AACNA board members. They shared their perspectives and their voices to provide a personal lens as faculty and staff of color at SJSU. They too have been influenced by the people and events represented by these structures, which are not just decorations on our campus. This VR experience is not your traditional campus tour. It is a reconciliation from people who have made important contributions for your success as SJSU Spartans. I want to provide a critical note. I opened this program with the land acknowledgement to the Muwekma Ohlone Indians and how our campus is built on their land. But there is not one structure at SJSU that acknowledges the Muwekma Indians or any Native American, nor is there an official Native American Studies department. However, the city of San Jose, as mentioned in the statement, lists the missions that the Muwekma were part of, and many of those missions and adobe structures of Spanish colonizers continue to stand and are promoted as the important beginnings of El Pueblo de San Jose. Indians are only displayed as a backdrop and are not people whose whose lands was taken away from them. Yet they continue to exist among us. The Muwekma are living with you and with me today. I say this to emphasize the fact that there is still much to be done to make this campus truly equitable in representation of all people who are part of the city, this state, and this nation. I hope you find inspiration and acknowledgement and acknowledge the needed work to bring in what is missing, what you were not taught, what you do not see, and find a way to continue the path to equity through change. The university is a place for you to grow through study and experience and through engagement with peers who may be from groups outside of your familiar life. On our campus, there is a plaque for which I am not able to locate the meaning or origins. It reads, El Paseo del Hombre Libre. I interpret it as, the university is the pathway to a liberated mind. But I am left with the questions, who put it there and what did it mean to them? I want to close with a quote from the late Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Fight for the things that you care about, but do it in a way that will lead others to join you. My hope, our hope, is that you will step into the path that continues the lineage, demands the change, continues the conversation as part of your endeavor through higher education. Please enjoy this effort. We hope you will see yourself in the students that advocated to make a space for you. Become part of the legacy in action and study. Thank you for your attendance and congratulations on being part of the SJSU Spartan community. I now introduce you to our next speaker, Michael Aguilar.
Thank you, Kathy. And I just want to also thank you for your note on the land acknowledgement. I think it's really important that we actively acknowledge the people and colonized lands that we all occupy today, right? It's important that we engage with these histories to identify where we failed in the past and how we can improve going forward. And that's really what this project was all about as well. Actively engaging with the university's past to promote some histories that most people may not know, right? And in addition to that, you're also getting a good introduction to campus, but through a much more critical lens. So as Kathy mentioned, I'm Michael. I'm the new Outreach and User Engagement Librarian with the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Library. And can I get the next slide, please? And I want to start off by also thanking the team for bringing me onto this project, particularly Sylvia Ruiz for envisioning it and really pulling everybody together. I'm fairly new to campus. I just started at the beginning of August, and my familiarity with campus is obviously very limited. I'm just as familiar as our entering freshman class, really, who haven't stepped foot on campus, or most likely haven't stepped foot on campus, in addition to some of our entering graduate students as well. It's all new to me, and this project was a really good way for me to quickly begin working with my colleagues and to experience campus, to learn about it, learn about those complex histories. And that engagement is something that as I mentioned, it's obviously been lacking as we've all been working remotely. But as Kathy also mentioned, it's not a typical campus tour, right? You're able to explore campus at a much deeper level. It's an in-depth exploration of the people, actions, and moments of the university's past, which I believe should continually influence how we define San Jose State now and in the future. And this is the first iteration of this project. We plan to update the virtual reality environment based on what we see with user engagement, feedback we receive, and possible future collaborations. So right now we've included the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Library, the Arch of Dignity, Equality, and Justice, and the Olympic Black Power sculpture. But in addition to updating the VR environment itself, we also plan to expand the number of landmarks across the San Jose State included in this environment. Some of those, or can I get the next slide as well? Some of those future landmarks that are currently on our list are Uchida Hall, Ernesto Galarza, and the Paseo de San Antonio, the Nursing Peace Pole, the Quetzalcoatl sculpture, and the Antioch Baptist Church. And we're fully open to collaborating on this work. If you feel there's a story or resources related to any of these landmarks, please feel free to reach out to us. And if there's another landmark that you feel is of great importance to San Jose State that isn't currently on our radar, again, please feel free to reach out to us. My email is at the top of the screen. We can drop it in the chat, I believe, as well. But I'll likely guide some of those conversations. If you want to collaborate, if you want to partner on these projects, I can guide those discussions. But all 6 of us are open to those collaborations. If you already have a working relationship with someone, or if there's a particular, for whatever reason, if there's a particular person you want to reach out to, please feel free. And this contact information will also be on our Spartan Quest webpage as well. We're really hoping for this to be a collaborative project. We want this to be something that all members from the San Jose State community can contribute knowledge to, because that communal history really improves how we understand the environment around us. And I'm going to pass it over to Jon Oakes, our technology labs coordinator, who will really give you some background information on how this actually came together. He's the person who actually makes the VR run. But before I do that, I do want to give another thank you to our AACNA board members, everyone who contributed essays, contributed audio recordings that are included, and anybody and everybody who helped us locate assets as well. In my experience, particularly Carly Lowe, our university archivist, who helped me navigate San Jose State Special Collections and Archives. And with that, I will pass it over to Jon.
All right, thanks, Michael. And thanks everyone for sticking with us. I want to take you on a little tour of how we built the app that we're going to let you explore and play with, and hopefully this will give you a better understanding of the process involved, but also ways that you can contribute in small and large ways, because this is really the first step of what we see as a long-term growing and evolving project. So when we first started talking about this about 5 weeks ago. Obviously, we're in the middle of the pandemic. First of all, just program note, because I'm doing a lot of sharing here. Are you seeing like a graphic screen now? Everything good? Or are you still on slides?
No.
Okay, good. So right now with COVID and fires and, you know, everything that we're going through, it's been kind of hard to get on campus and explore. And that's why we're doing this virtual week of welcome. Normally you'd be on campus and seeing all these things firsthand. But what we wanted to do is kind of take a step at creating a virtual campus. So we scraped Google and other resources and started putting together this virtual campus that we're going to slowly build out over time and refine so that you can maybe explore this campus and all of it has to offer, but under this project in the context of all the social activism and social justice work that San Jose has been involved in. So this is a 3D model of campus in pretty good detail. And we're going to use that as kind of the model, the structure, to give people a way to navigate around campus and experience some of these things. So we captured the monuments and the structures that we're talking about today in various ways. For example, a few years ago, somebody took the initiative and did a laser scan of the Olympic Black Power monument. And so we were able to capture a lot of the detail of the statues from there without actually having to go on campus and put that into a format that can be shared. And we want to do more as we get back on campus, get higher quality images and really bring out the detail. But, you know, so you'll be able to see this statue in 3D and walk around it in the app. And for the other ones, we use something called photogrammetry, where we couldn't get on campus, but we did have lots of images of the library and the arch. So when you take all these pictures, you can use some software called photogrammetry software to basically reconstruct a 3D image. And so you can see here, if you look at this, all these blue triangles are positions where the camera was, and then software determines where the intersecting points are, and it creates something that looks a little bit more like an arch. And then you can add in and reproject the pictures back onto the arch until finally you get something that's a pretty good approximation of the real thing. And, you know, you can get quite a bit of good detail out of it. And this is something I wanted to point out, because this wasn't this wasn't like a professional scanning job. This is a person walking around with a digital camera and taking pictures, and we add it to the database. So when we're all back on campus, or if you're out in the world and see something that needs a story told about it in San Jose or really anywhere, if you can, you know, help us collect these pictures, collect some of the detail, we can put this into the model and make everything a little bit better. So doing all that, we then have to share again, put it into an app. I have to stop sharing for a second so I can reload my screen. Into something we call Spartan Quest. And you're all going to get the link for this, but this is a 3D experience, so you can navigate it with your mouse. And I put a little tutorial here at the beginning of the app when you come in, so you get a reminder. You move around with your keyboard, W, A, S, and D, forward, back, left, and right. And if you want to look around, your mouse is basically your head. So you hold down the mouse button, the left mouse button on a PC, or just the regular mouse button on the Mac, and you can look around and look at things. And if you want to interact, the way we do it in this app is there's these monarch butterflies, which are kind of a symbol of the university and Spartan Quest. You just click on them and something will happen. And I'm going to show you what that's like. So we're going to come up here and you see the small model of the campus map and these butterflies floating around. And if you were to click on one, you'll see a big, and you'll hear audio. I don't know if the audio is coming over the Zoom, but you'll be able to hear the person who is talking. So, and then you can explore this. You can walk around the objects, and you can feel free to click any of them. There's 6 of them. It only takes about 5 minutes to go through. And, you know, we're going to be here on Zoom with you, and you can access it while you're still in the Zoom. And what we're really hoping for is that you'll come back with feedback, you know, questions, especially if you have problems using it. I definitely want to know, because we do want to make this available to the general campus and to other people in the community, and we want to expand on it, and we want feedback about other things we can do over time. So we're going to, after we wrap up the rest of the presentation, share the link with you. We'd love for you to experience it. We'll be here in Zoom for the rest of the hour. And you know, I'm really passionate about this as an approach for sharing information and content. So please reach back out to us and ask how you can help, because I'm sure there's a way you can all help a little bit. All right. So I'm going to share back to the presentation for Kathy.
Okay, so I get next screen. Okay, so so thank you to everyone who's contributed to this project. It really is it really is something that is growing, and we will continue to have contributions to it. So to view the VR experience, the link should be shared in the chat box about now. There it is. Thank you, Mariah. You can click on that link and it will take you to the VR. And at this point we're going to stop recording, and so we will be available for any questions as you explore, and for those that may not want to explore right now, you can still go to that webpage at a later time to view the presentation, or you're welcome to ask us any questions. So that's essentially it for now, at least in our part. And now it's really up to you and to go experience. And we look forward to hearing from you and getting questions or reactions. So thank you all for coming. And again, looking forward to hear from you.